Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Skip Allen, and this is the Top 5 Weekly, where myself and my guests discuss a topic in the realm of movies. It could be an actor, could be an actress, could be a director, could be a genre. In this case, it is a genre. It's basketball movies. And like I said, I don't do this show alone. But before I bring in my guests, I just want to say thank you for Jeremy Adams for stepping in for a couple weeks. I was really, really sick, and he did a great job. Everybody that did those episodes with Jeremy, I really appreciate you guys doing that without me in there, and it meant a lot to me that you guys were doing it without me. So let's not wait any further. Let's bring in our guests. We got Mr. Nick Carley and Miss Peggy Gubbins. We're going to change this up a little bit here. Sorry about this, guys.
Whoa, taking up all the screen. No.
That's what I like. That's what I like. Nick, welcome again. Glad to have you.
Oh, yeah. Happy to be here. These are always a good time to discuss our favorite movies and whatever subject it may be. So I'm happy to be here.
And Peggy, once again, we found a topic that you wanted to do.
Yeah, we did. And I'd just like to formally apologize. We got started late because of me. I want to make that clear. And I apologize.
It's okay.
This isn't going to go up for another month, so nobody knows anything about the time.
So we'll cut that out. No one will ever know.
Now they do, because there's no editing of the Top 5 Weekly. So you just broke the fourth wall on that one. But like I said, this is the topic is basketball movies in honor of The Way Back, starring Ben Affleck. And I can't wait for that movie to come out. So when this episode goes up, that movie will be out. I'll be watching it. So let's get this thing started. It's not because you're bottom of the screen or anything like that, Peggy, but Nick is to my right, so he's going to go first. So no particular order. It just happens to be he's going first because he's to my right.
All right. Okay. Well, I will say basically my 5 through 2 could easily be any of these spots. I shuffled these spots all over the place for the last hour. But the number 5, I'm going to have to go with a childhood favorite of mine. I'm going to go with Space Jam.
Okay.
I do not have Space Jam. Do you have that?
Oh, man.
You don't? You don't have that, Peggy?
I like Space Jam. It's a fun movie for the kid folk, but it's not on my list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nick, go. Take it away, buddy.
All right. Like I said, it's just childhood memory at this point, and I couldn't not put on this list. It's a super fun film. Filmed partially in my hometown because Michael Jordan played for the Birmingham Barons, which is where I'm in Birmingham currently. So that was kind of a fun thing to be like, oh, look, that's right down the street where he played baseball. And then, the whole starting off playing golf with Bill Murray and Larry Bird and that whole, and of course, all the Looney Tunes characters. And it's just a super fun movie. I mean, super silly, doesn't take itself seriously. And it's super funny, has a lot of funny quotable lines. And seeing a lot of the big NBA players at that time, like the scene where the guys are coming up to a game and they've all got the mask covers on because they don't want to lose their talent and all that. And it was just it was very clever all the way through. And of course, the big part of R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly, coming through that. So it's just one of those great films that I really enjoy whenever I watch it, mainly for its silliness more than anything else.
You got any thoughts on Space Jam, Peggy?
Yeah, anytime you put a movie with Charles Barkley, Bill Murray, and the Looney Tunes gang, I'm on board. Like, just take my money. And plus, I'm from Chicago, so Michael Jordan, big deal up here. I should have been wearing my Jordans tonight, but I'm not. I'm in socks. This one is nearly my number 5, so yeah, I was right there.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Space Jam, but I do understand the nostalgic factor behind this movie. It really has a nostalgia specifically for people that grew up in that area, that late 80s, early 90s area. I kind of was about 18, 19 by then. So I kind of was a little bit older for that kind of film, but I do understand the nostalgia behind it. And I understand how many people love that movie. And of course, now we're getting a remake starring LeBron James. So we'll see.
Yeah.
They remake everything. We'll see if they can make it better. But if they can't, you always have the original Space Jam. Mm-hmm. So let's go move on to Peggy's number 5.
My number 5 is Hoosiers, actually.
Hold on there.
Wow.
I figured.
Hold on there. Hold on there. All right, we're gonna go to me next, Peggy. All right, a movie. Actually, I was before the show. I was telling Nick I just happened upon it on TV today because I was gonna try to knock out a few movies before. I like to catch up on a few movies during this subject matter, and I just happened upon this today. So I was like, you know what? I love the message behind it, and Coach Carter. Starring Samuel L. Jackson.
Hold on there a second.
Oh, you know what? I had a clue someone might have it. I didn't know for sure. All right, we're back to Nick.
I know, I'm making this real quick. All right, so my number 4 is actually a movie I watched just a couple days ago, and that refreshed my memory. I'm going to go with good old Blue Chips.
Cards! I have it at 4 too.
Okay, sweet.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Okay. Wow, perfect.
All right. Yeah, I mean, just this movie, man, but it mainly because I love Shaq. I love Penny Hardaway. So that was a big thing. And then it was a very just good, I think it was a pretty good, insightful film of how coaches sort of be like, hey, I'll give you this and this to be able, to come to my program. And, that really brought to light, like, okay. But it was also just a very I liked it, very well-made film. And it's got some pretty good comedy in it as well. I mean, Penny and Shaq doing their best. Clearly, this was one of their first, if not their first movies they ever made. I think they did good for what they were supposed to. So, and I thought it was just a really good insight about how, college basketball works, if people say so or not. So go ahead. Sorry, I'm done.
I absolutely agree. I forget the name of the actress who plays the ex-wife of Nick Nolte's character and the tutor to Shaq's Neon Boudreaux or Bodo. I always get confused of which is the actual pronunciation of that character's name because they messed it up a couple times.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to talk about Ed O'Neill as the sports writer who's chasing after the program. That was really the first time we really saw a big departure for him, other than like Dutch, from Married with Sheldon. It was more of a serious role, and I was like, wow, okay. I mean, he had the one small part on The West Wing, but this was the first time I actually saw him break out into like more of a serious role, and he was very believable as that sports reporter. I love him.
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, he was right here. I remember. Yeah, Ed O'Neill was good. And then I forgot Louis Gossett Jr. had a very small role in that was really good too. But also I'm just sorry, I pulled it up on Wikipedia, so I'm seeing that. But Alfred Woodard was also in there as Lavada McRae,
Penny Hardaway's mom, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep, It's good stuff.
Yeah, I have a friend who actually a basketball coach, and when I talk about doing shows like this, the Top 5 Weekly, and he brings up, we need to do top 5 basketball movies. And he said he wants to bring up Blue Chips. He talks about Blue Chips and it's like the end all be all of like basketball films. And I tell him, I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Blue Chips. I like Nick Nolte. I like the whole recruiting aspect of it and that whole kind of world that they live in. But it's not one of my favorite basketball films.
Sure.
I definitely put it in my top 10. More than likely to be in my top 10, maybe at number 10. But I love the one part of it I really love is the guy from Indiana. He wanted a tractor. And it was like this, I think, was Larry Bird in that part? He
helped recruit him. He plays himself. He helped recruit him. Yeah. Because he's from the same hometown, French Lick, Indiana.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm a Boston Celtics guy. So I love that part. The guy, he didn't want money. He didn't want a house. He wanted a tractor for his old man. You know, it was like, yeah, I'll go to Indiana or whatever, UCLA or whatever school it is, buy a tractor for my old man, and I'll go there.
Yeah.
So I always thought that part was kind of funny because, you know, everybody wants money. They want a house. They want a car. No, I want a tractor for my old man so we can cut the lawn or cut the grass.
No, that was a good part.
Town in Indiana. But yeah, so okay, my number 4, another movie I watched today, just trying to recap on some movies that I liked, but I just didn't know where I should put them on my list. And for all I know, one of y'all has this on your list. It's got He Got Game from Spike Lee. Does anybody have it? All right. Don't tell me what number it is. Don't tell me. We'll get to it when it's your time. All right, that's 2 of mine. That's 2 of mine that we got passed over. All right, so we're going back to Nick again.
Okay. All right. So my number 3 is literally, Dan, we were talking about this earlier. I literally just finished this film probably 30 minutes before we started this. But I'm going to go with Glory Road.
All right. I do not have it. It's in my honorable mentions. Peggy, you don't have it either? Great story. True story.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to just chime in after you're done talking about it, Nick.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic story of, you know, at that point it was Texas Western, now it's UTEP. First, you know, basically the first coach to actually come in and recruit African-American players. And all the trouble and all the hardship and, you know, hurdles he had to go over to finally make it to the final and play the big bad Kentucky Wildcats in the final. Sorry, spoilers. Yeah, it happened about 40 years ago. So
it happened a long time ago.
Yeah. So, but no, it's just, and you know, I will say it is your typical, you know, Disney sports film that, you know, it does like. The music's really good. They've got it like the music of the times always goes really well with the scenes they're doing, and you know, going through how, you know, the African American and the white players that were there before and them clashing together and finally like understanding and working together and just, you know, becoming a super good team. You know, they basically go undefeated, and it's just I have a very soft spot for Disney sports films. So it's just it's one of their, I feel like it's one of his better ones, and it's just, yeah, and you know, it's fairly good ending, and I just like it all the way through. It's very well made.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in here, Peggy, first, and I'll throw it to you. Josh Lucas is Don Haskins, a real-life basketball coach, a legendary basketball coach. And like you said, he recruits a team of all black players, and he had to play in the Final Four, the legendary Kentucky Wildcats, with some big-name guys on the team. You might have heard of him. The coach of the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, Pat Riley. Guess what?
Yep,
He's on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget the Knicks. He coached the Knicks for a big stretch.
Oh, well, nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers.
Oh, no one remembers.
Chicago remembers. Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
There was some some legendary players on those. And, of course, the coach of Kentucky at the time was Adolph Rupp, which, you know, if you know anything about sports or anything about college basketball, this is like the peak of the peak when it comes to
and John Voight nailed him.
Yeah. Oh, John Voight was fantastic. Yeah,
he nailed him.
Very good film. Like you said, Disney knows how to pull the heartstrings with these sports movies. They pick the right stories. Peggy, you got any thoughts on Glory Road?
No, it would definitely make my top 10. I was thinking about maybe having it at my number 5 spot, but I couldn't not include a certain movie I named before that we'll get to eventually. But no, it's a good movie. I kind of, when this came out, I think this came out after Remember the Titans, if I'm not correct, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, when it came out, my friends would tell me it's Remember the Titans with a basketball.
Kind of.
That's fair. No, it's true.
That's a very good analogy there. Good observation, Peggy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back to me. We'll see if this one. I'm sorry, I still got a little bit of that cough.
No worries.
All right, here. Let's see if I'm able to talk about this one. Who knows? Probably not. A little bit movie with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson called "White Men Can't Jump." Does anybody have that? All right. Once again, skipping over me.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I still got a little bit of that. That was my number 3. So, boy, we are moving fast. Going to Nick's 2.
We're already at the
slowing
2.
down here fast.
Oh God. Okay.
We're going to be slowing down pretty quick because of all mine haven't got talked about yet. So Nick is going to be the only one who'll be sitting there like twiddling his thumbs while me and Peggy are talking.
No, I'm going to feel bad about that I didn't include the others. All right. So my number 2 is another one I watched recently a couple weeks ago, and mainly because I love the guy who played the head coach. I want Coach Carter is my number 2.
Oh, great. Now I can talk about something finally. Take it away, and I'll take it after you.
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, there's a handful of these and we'll talk about this later, that I just have not seen enough to put on my list. But this one I've watched multiple times, and Samuel L. Jackson just kills it as Ken Carter in this film. And I mean, just coming into coming into a situation where the players don't care at all, they're completely rebellious, and just what he does to get them in line, and like not taking any crap from anybody, and has some really good performances from the kids in the film. Channing Tatum puts on a really good performance in this film, one of his earlier acting gigs, and they all do a super good job. And then there's just some really stuff coming from outside, and the families being like, well, why are you treating our kids like this? They're doing just fine, blah, blah, blah. And Samuel L. Jackson just being like, no, this is my team. I'm going to do what needs to be done to get these kids going. And, I'm just trying, I can't put it all together, but it's like, I don't know. It's just super, super well done from the beginning to the end. I mean, and, even though it may not end like most people think it does, it's a very great film. And it's a true story. It's written by the actual Ken Carter. Like he wrote the movie, and I don't know. It's just a very interesting perspective about how it all goes down. So I can watch that film at any point and enjoy it every time I watch it.
Like I said earlier, I just happened upon it today. I'm like, wow, irony of all ironies. I'm doing basketball movies tonight. Might as well knock this out. The only thing is I had to watch it with commercials, which I hate that. But you're right. Sam Jackson, wow, what a great performance as Ken Carter. This guy, he comes in, he has his own rules. If you break his rules, forget about it. You're doing push-ups. You're doing suicides.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing is he has the kids sign a contract. You must maintain a 2.3 GPA or you can't play. Well, he's getting progress reports from the teachers, and he's looking, failing this class, not showing up for this class, needs tutoring, all this kinds of stuff. And so what does he do? And like Nick said, this is a true story. This actually happened in the San Francisco area of California. He locks the gym. Said, we're not playing. This team is 16-0. 16-0. The surprise of the area, Richmond area, and he locks the gym, locks the kids out of the gym, says, we're not going to even touch a basketball until you get straight in the classroom. What a great message for kids today, back then, kids of any age. Guess what's important? Basketball is not going to get you a life unless you're a Myron Stoudemire and you're 6'11". Yeah. You know you're going to the NBA if you're 6'11" out of high school. But most of these kids don't go to the NBA. They have to go to college. They have to work on their academics. They have to work on their game. And then maybe a percentage of those get out of college and go to the NBA. But most of them are getting their degrees. And that degree, and I can tell you a true story about a kid. Kid was incredible. His name was, I'm not even going to say his name. The kid was incredible. This kid got a full ride at a local college, university. You put that name in that university on that resume, you're getting a job. Kid finished with missing one semester, never got a degree. Now he's a local businessman selling things on a corner in the town that I live in. If you know what that means, hope you understand what that means. It's not technically a businessman. It's a legal business.
Fair enough.
That's and I'll tell you, the message that they put in this film is one that everybody can get behind. And I really wish more people would watch this movie and learn that it's not all about the basketball, because that 1%, that pyramid that gets to the top of that pyramid is very, very slim. There's a lot of people down at the bottom of that pyramid are working their way up, and that's most of the kids. And I love it how at the end of the movie, they say such and such went to college and got a degree in communications. Such and such went to college, played basketball, but also got a degree in business. That part was really great to show that these people were real people. And you have Academy Award winner Octavia Spencer in there. You have music star Ashanti in there. Rob Brown is in another basketball movie, which is in my honorable mentions, called Finding Forrester. He's also in The Express. This kid just made a career out of being in sports movies, but then after that, he just really didn't do a whole lot. Yeah. But and like Nick said, Channing Tatum's in there, one of his early roles. But I really enjoyed Coach Carter. Peggy, sorry, I took too a lot of time on that one.
It's fine. I just wanted to point out one thing. Apologies to the actor. I'm going to refer to him as Spanish because he plays Spanish in the movie Old School. His arc from when Coach Carter first gets there, him talking back and Sam putting
Rick Gonzalez.
That's right. The speech he gives, where he's like, our fear isn't that we are without power. Our fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Like having him go from there to there, that happens on teams if you get a really good coach as an impact on a player. So I love that particular arc within the movie.
His arc of his character and Rob Brown's arc of their two characters really brought another aspect to the film. And he's in Arrow, in case you didn't know the name, Rick Gonzalez. Arrow. He's Mad Dog in Arrow.
But I mean, just in case for some odd reason no one's seen this movie since it's been out since 2005. But anyways, the way that it ends like it did goes back to Dan's point that like it's good to, be good in school and, make it as far as you did, because I mean, if you don't get all the way there, you still have something to fall back on.
More people fail when it comes to stuff like that, whether it be baseball, football, basketball.
Oh yeah,
we succeed. So having a disappointment really can teach you more than winning all the time. Sometimes, especially for kids in a tough neighborhood and a tough background. So let's go on to number. That was my number 5 and Nick's number 2. So now we're on to Peggy's number 2.
My number 2, you just mentioned it when you were talking about Coach Carter. It is Finding Forrester.
Wow, Rob Brown again. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't have that. I have that in my honorable mentions.
That is in my honorable mentions as well. I did not put that, mainly because I haven't watched it in a long time. I mean, I watched it once, like probably 8-9 years ago, but I have not watched it in a while.
Another great film. Go ahead, Peggy.
No, I love this film because, it's a basketball film, but it also talks about like the economic story of this kid from a underprivileged neighborhood. Because he has talent, he gets a scholarship to go to this really, really privileged school downtown Manhattan, and all the different trip falls that can be set in his path through that. Just him trying to get along in the new environment, him still trying to maintain his friendships with the friends from the old environment. And then he comes along and he meets this guy who lives in an apartment that looks over the basketball court that he plays on, develops a friendship with him. And that friendship is one of like the strangest, most beautiful friendships I've seen in media or in movies in quite some time. And Busta Rhymes playing the older brother, you wouldn't think he would pull that off, but he actually pulls it off really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the scene at the very end where he was writing the essay and he only started with the first sentence of the first line of one of I forget. Sorry, I was distracted. Get on my laptop. Sean Connery's what was it? Summer. I forget the name of the essay, but it was all completely 100% his own creative efforts, except for that first line. You have that asshole teacher who's trying to get him kicked out of school just because he embarrassed him in front of the class one time. You run into teachers like that, and I've seen teachers like that before. I thought it was a great movie. Different storylines, different story arcs all around. Fantastic watch, Nick. I suggest you watch it again. It's really, really good.
Oh, I agree. It is on my rewatch list, very high up there.
I mean, yeah, Sean Connery. Can't go wrong with Sean Connery.
Yeah. Sean Connery. I mean, what totally different kind of role for him. You didn't expect him in something like this, and he really brings a different kind of performance. And that guy, that teacher, an Oscar winner, F. Murray Abraham. He won for Amadeus, playing a nasty character.
Plays the dick so well.
Yeah, he really does. Anna Paquin, another Oscar winner, is like the girlfriend who's trying to get with Rob Brown in the film. And Matt Damon's also in the film.
No cameo, but
Gus Van Sant, I mean, he did Good Will Hunting, so he had that connection with Matt Damon and stuff. So Gus Van Sant does these kind of character pieces where it's really makes you think about life and growing up and living and having to work hard and not just take everything for granted. And he's a great director, Gus Van Sant. Yeah. I mean, if I had more than 5 spots, I might have put Finding Forrester at number 6 or something like that. I really, really enjoy this film a lot. And I'm glad you found a space on your list for it, Peggy. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It's way up there for me at number 2. But I always use the line that, is that a soup question or is that a soup question? Always stuck with me.
All right, so now we're going back to my number 2. I have a feeling someone's going to have this at number 1. I just have a sneaking suspicion. But I'm going to do it anyway because I just feel like doing it. My number 2 is Hoop Dreams. Nobody's got Hoop Dreams. Peggy doesn't have Hoop Dreams. The lady from Chicago does not have Hoop Dreams. Oh, my God.
I didn't even have Space Jam, and that's Jordan. I mean, come on now.
I know people are going to be super mad at me, but I have not seen that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, Hoop Dreams is basically the story of
Ronnie
Arthur Agee and William Gates, these 2 teenagers in Chicago that it's basically a documentary that follows their lives, their upbringing, their family, their parents, their teachers, their teammates, their school. And one goes to an inner city school, one goes to a Catholic school. And they're both trying to make it in basketball to move on. One of them does, and the other does not. One of them goes to Marquette, and the other one kind of falls by the wayside. And it really, we talked about little bits and pieces with Coach Carter, Finding Forrester, some of these types of movies. But this is real people being documented, their real lives being documented. And I think it was 1994 it came out. And it was Roger Ebert's number 1 film of the year that year. And it didn't even get nominated for Best Documentary. That's how ridiculous this was, how great a film this was. And it's considered one of the greatest films of the decade, Hoop Dreams. And what I love about it is it really captures the hardships that people go through and how hard it is to get out of a tough situation. When you're poor, you live in a housing product, you're not intelligent. So the academics come hard and you got people that are trying to leech on you and try to screw you over just to try to get you. Then there's people, get you to turn and go, do other things and that you don't want to do. And Hoop Dreams really captures the athlete, in my opinion, that, like I said, that bottom of that pyramid, where that top, very few get to that top of that pyramid. There's a lot of people at the bottom of that pyramid. And these kids were at the bottom of that pyramid, and they had to claw and scratch and to get a little bit further. One of them got a little further than the other. And it's a great movie about how hard life can be for kids, athletes. Any thoughts on it, Nick? You haven't seen it, right?
Yeah, I hate to say I have not seen it. It's everyone like speaks praises of it, but I have not gotten around to watching it yet.
Yeah, Peggy, you got any thoughts on Hoop Dreams?
No, I think you covered it pretty good. It's been a while since I've seen it. I might have to go and rewatch it again. I think I watched it when it first originally came out. Was it late 90s?
94. Okay. I think is what it was. Yeah.
It's been a while, so I may have to revisit that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I will tell you this: it is dated because it came out in 1994. The clothes have changed. The times, like, there's no cell phones, there's no computers, there's no all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of dated to that time.
Yeah.
But you really can still get the message about how hard life is. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Peggy's from there. She knows that South Chicago, some of the areas in Chicago are very, very difficult to get out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, okay, that was my number 2. Now we're going to go to Nick's number 1.
Oh, boy. Already at number 1. Okay. Well, Peggy already said it earlier, and I was very sad to see that it was her number 5. But I'm going with Hoosiers as my number 1.
It's my number 1 as well, Nick.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I figured it would be close.
You say whatever you're going to want. I'll say, then we'll go to Peggy.
I would, okay. So, I lived, before I moved back down to where I am currently in Alabama, I lived in Indiana for about 15 years. So, like, and when people talk about Hoosiers, like, it is their movie. Like, that movie is, like, most people think it's the best movie of all time up there. They love that movie so much. I mean, there's so many iconic parts about that film. I mean, Gene Hackman is just brilliant as Coach Norman Dale, and of course, the whole. It's a super small school, and it is based on a true story. Just going through and like a super small school that gets a new coach that comes in and like teaches them. I mean, it actually has, to be honest, it's a very similar story to Coach Carter, my previous one. Like coming in where he's like, okay, we're going to do conditioning and fundamentals and not worry about the rest of it because the rest of it will come later. So it just works out super well that way. And, of course, the so many classic lines like, okay, we're going to run the picket fence and, one of the greatest parts ever. And then, hey, and using the tape measure to be like, look, it's 10 feet just like it is at home. So it doesn't matter where we play. It's going to be the exact same place to get them in the right mindset. And I mean, and the beautiful score by Jerry Goldsmith is freaking brilliant. And I don't like it. It's just whenever you say basketball movie, this is the first thing that comes to my mind within a second. So, and like I said, I may be a little biased because I lived in Indiana for so long, but I just love this film across the whole way. It's just a classic.
I never lived in Indiana, Nick.
Yeah.
And, I love this movie so much. I'm a Larry Bird fan, if you haven't guessed. I'm a Boston Celtics fan. So sure. I read Larry Bird's book, Drive, the story of Larry Bird. And it's so similar to this story. Hickory, Indiana, it's just this podunk little nothing town. They don't have anything going for them except for basketball.
Yeah.
And everybody in town goes to the basketball games. They go out of town. It's a one road town, always to the next wherever they're going, and everybody goes there. The sheriff, the store clerks, this is all they have in this town. And he comes in here, Norman Dale comes in there, and he's changing it up, and he's doing his own thing with it. And he gets an alcoholic, drunken assistant coach played by Dennis Hopper.
Oh, so good.
Shooter. Dennis Hopper is so good. Reminded me of my father so much. But he sees something in him, just like he sees something in the kids. You know, some of his locker room speeches are just incredible. And you mentioned when they made it to Butler Fieldhouse. They made it to Butler Fieldhouse, which is still there today.
Oh, yeah.
The Butler Bulldogs play there. And those 10 feet and the measurements and all that. I actually used that speech in a middle school basketball game because we were playing up against a team that we're going to get killed by. Guys, look, the rim's the same, the court's the same. I don't know why the hell I did that, but I did that for middle school boys basketball when I was an assistant coach. And I love the people that Jimmy. I just like. Jimmy is like the magical, this guy can't exist, but he was like the Larry Bird.
He was, yeah.
He was just so incredible. He could not do any wrong. And Norman Dale had to get his trust. He wouldn't be on the team. He liked the other coach or whatever. And it took him a while to come around.
Well, yeah, he liked the other coach, and the other coach died suddenly.
Yeah.
And so that's why he wouldn't play, is because he was like, I can't play without the other. And that's why Gene Hackman had to really convince him hard to get him back to play again.
And Barbara Hershey as the love interest for Norman Dale. She's fantastic as Myrna Fleener. Chelsea Ross, we've seen him in a few movies. The director, David Ansbaugh, would go on to direct another great sports movie that you guys might know of called Rudy.
Oh, snap. I did not realize that was the same guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry Goldsmith does the score for that one, too.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Jerry Goldsmith is a saint. We will leave that the way it is. Oh, my gosh.
I put Hoosiers on my top 10 sports movie of all time.
Yeah.
It's literally probably at number 5 on my list of the top.
Oh, he's top 5, and it's top 5 in mine as well. Overall sports movies for sure.
And I just want to bring up, kind of like the what do you call it in the room, the elephant in the room. It's about a bunch of white kids, and it's got a coach that's a white guy. Everybody's white in the film, but you got to remember where this took place. Hickory, Indiana. There was no black people there. There's no minorities there. So it's based on a true story. And then when they finally play the team from Indianapolis and they're all black, it gives more gravitas to the overcoming such huge odds.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I had Hoosiers at number 1. We skipped a couple of mine. Hopefully, I think Peggy's got one of them. I'm hoping Peggy's got one of mine on. I don't know what happened. Somehow I skipped a couple of them. Nobody brought up any of mine. They said they were higher on their list, but I don't know.
Did we? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. So, Peggy, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is White Men Can't Jump.
Okay. How do we skip He Got Game then? Who skipped He Got Game on their list?
I said it was in my honorable mentions.
And you had it at 3, so Peggy skipped it then.
Yeah, I think we accidentally skipped hers.
Yeah, let's talk about He Got Game first, then we'll talk about White Man Can't Jump, Peggy, all right?
That's fine. Yeah, He Got Game is probably my favorite Spike Lee movie out of all the Spike Lee movies, Spike Lee joints that are out there. Ray Allen as Jesus Shuttlesworth, not the greatest actor in the world, but he pulls it off because Denzel Washington is such a powerhouse actor that he just pulls him in. Then the scene even before with the kid where they're playing one-on-one and he's just shoving him to the ground and fouling him and slapping the ball out of his hand. it's good because I grew up playing basketball, and there's always that balance. There's the parents that don't care enough, and then there's parents who care way too much. And you got to try to find that happy medium somewhere in there. He is like the archetype of the parent who cares way too much, and I've seen that happen many, many a time playing basketball. I think it's a brilliant movie. Yeah, so it made my number 3. Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
I had it at number 4, and I'll tell you, I just watched it today again. One of my favorite Spike Lee movies. Denzel is so good, balancing the line of a bad father, but then also trying to convince his son to go to this university so he can get out of jail. Yeah. I mean, it is such a balancing act on his part. And then he's trying to help this hooker with a heart of gold. And then, like you said, it's Ray Allen. I mean, I'm a Celtics fan, so I mean, a Ray Allen in a movie, like, yeah, this is great. You know, yeah, Ray's played for other teams, but I only remember him because he's when he played for the Celtics. That's all I care about when it comes to Ray. And he went to Connecticut. When he made this movie, he was going to Connecticut. And you talked about blue chips earlier. This had a great montage of the time, all the great college coaches of the time. Just, hey, we want you to come to Georgetown. We want you to come to Arkansas. We want you to come to all these different places, Arizona. I mean, I loved it when they brought, and they had those spiel. They would give all the spiel why that he should come to them. And then Rick Fox at the time was playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's trying to get him to go to Tech U, and he's bringing them, showing them all the hookers, and he's showing them all the hot babes. All these white girls like black guys, and black girls are so too hard to get along with. They're too much maintenance, but the white girls, boy, they'd fall all over you and all this stuff. So that's, sorry, Peggy, I had to bring that stuff up. I just thought that stuff was kind of funny. But when they're trying to recruit you, they will literally do everything. Like his own high school coach is trying to give him $10,000 cash. And he's like, no, I can't take all this stuff. I can't take cars. I can't take money. I can't do all this stuff. It's illegal, you know? And Spike Lee really, as a huge basketball fan, Spike Lee, we know he's a huge Knicks fan. He's always at the Knicks games. He really got the ins and outs of basketball from the high school perspective always into the college and professional perspective. And, you know, we see a lot of movies with bad moms, but we don't get a lot of movies where the father's really a nasty guy. We do get some, but Denzel really played a nasty character in this movie, but you still like him in the end. And like you said, he's pushing his kid down on that one, like old scene. He's pushing him down. And then, the main scene of the movie is like those two have to play each other because obviously he thinks he's better than his son, and he's not as good as his son. When your son's being portrayed by Ray Allen, he's not going to lose Denzel Washington. But I really, really love He Got Game. I think it's a phenomenal film, one of Spike Lee's best. All right, Peggy, you're number 1. White Man Can't Jump. Oh, wait, Nick, real quick, any thoughts on?
Unfortunately, another one that I literally, while you were talking, I pulled it up to cue it so I could watch it later is He Got Game. Yeah, I know. There's a lot that I had not seen in this category.
All right.
But it's I mean, like you've all discussed, it seems like a phenomenal film. I'm a huge fan of Denzel Washington, so I'm very excited to watch it. But everyone talks that movie up so well, so it seems an amazing film.
It really is. Rosario Dawson's in there too.
I saw Rosario Dawson's in it. John Turturro's in it. Like, it's pretty crazy, the cast in this film.
Oh yeah. Well, when Spike Lee makes a movie, everybody wants to sign up.
Exactly.
All right, Peggy, let's get talking about White Man Can't Jump. That's me and Nick.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I have to say this is my favorite basketball movie of all time.
Good one.
Maybe it's because Billy Hoyle wears the holographic baseball cap turned around backwards. I don't know what it is, but it's a great movie. the whole part with just the hustling where people just underestimate Woody Harrelson just because he's white, and all of a sudden he's coming in and draining threes like he's John Paxson out there, or name your 3-point shooter that you will reference, Steve Kerr. Anyone. Anywho, the whole story with I mean, this is not basketball related, but with what's her name? With an R. I'm blanking right now.
Rosie
Perez. Thank you, Rosie Perez. The whole going like wanting to go on Jeopardy, foods that start with the letter Q, and then the lesson that she teaches Billy at the very end is like sometimes when you win, you really lose. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. When he borrows the money from her and they go and play in that final tournament, and all of a sudden she's gone when he comes back. Yeah, he won, but he really lost. So he finally learned that lesson on that one. And that's just, I don't know, it's one of my favorite movies, and it's hilarious all the way through. Wesley Snipes, you can't go wrong because you either smoke or you get smoked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to tell you, I mean, you talk about buddy comedies and buddy movies. Mm-hmm. This is one of the best ones. It just happens to be a basketball movie about street hustling basketball. Yeah. You know, we've seen The Hustler and The Color of Money and Pool and stuff like that. But there's hustling going on in a lot of sports, not just pool. And basketball is courts in every town, in every state, and probably in other countries as well, where guys are hustling guys and guys are being hustlers. And it really shed a light on that world of hustling and the make or break world of hustling basketball. And the performance by Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson are just fantastic. And like you said, Rosie Perez is fantastic. I really, really enjoy the movie. It was a pleasant surprise when it came out. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this movie as being like this great piece of art, and it turned out to be a great, great sports film. Nick, any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's a super. I mean, yeah, it's super hilarious. Like the camaraderie between Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson is just phenomenal across the board, and just how much Wesley Snipes just completely disrespects Woody Harrelson at the beginning is hilarious. And it's yet another film like Finding Forrester to add to my rewatch list because. It was at number 6. I really wanted to put it there, but it didn't quite make it. But it's definitely one I want to rewatch again just for the entertainment value because it was a really good film.
Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to mention that I failed to mention was the scene where the 3 of them are driving in the car and they're listening to Jimi Hendrix. And there's a whole conversation where you can listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear Jimmy. I still quote that one. I can hear Jimmy. I still quote that.
You can't hear Jimmy. That's a good one.
I just want to make sure that scene got a little tip of the cap.
All right, Nick, you got any honorable mentions?
Well, my honorable mentions have been mentioned by everybody. Which was White Men Can't Jump and He Got Game were my two honorable mentions that were really close to making it on the list. But yeah. Those two, and I mean, I could throw Finding Forrester in there as well, but those were my ones that were shuffling those at the last second to finally figure out what my list was.
Okay. Peggy, you got any honorable mentions?
I think everything that I had on my honorable mentions has been mentioned except for the movie 17 Again, which I think is actually underrated. It's not really a basketball movie. It's more of a time travel.
It is technically a basketball, I guess.
Basketball in there. And I think it's really good for like a little teen, like
it is.
Go back in time, try to replay your life and everything. So I put that as an honorable mention. It
is what it is. No, I agree. It is a very funny film.
All right. Well, I got some honorable mentions. First of all, for the DeLand High School girls basketball team back in the day and today, which, you know, I'm around them a lot because I keep the clock for all the boys and girls high school. Love and basketball.
Yeah,
it's like their life. This is literally their life, love and basketball. So that movie, it gets quoted, it gets talked about all the time with Omar Epps and
it's a good one.
Very good
one. What's her name again?
I forget.
I don't know.
Sanaa Lathan, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to bring that up for the girls of DeLand High School basketball.
Nice.
Love and basketball. I have in honor of Nick and Kirk, I'm surprised neither one of Kirk couldn't even come up with a list of basketball. I'm like, come on, there's one with your name in it, your town's name in it. It's called The Fish That Stole Pittsburgh. How can you guys not know?
Sorry,
about The Fish That Stole Pittsburgh.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's absolute classic.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Another classic. Jeremy Adams is, if he watches this show, he wants me to mention this. Amazing Grace and Chuck. Alex English played for the Denver Nuggets. This is a movie about a kid protesting, and then this basketball player named Alex English, true person, Amazing Grace and Chuck. He protests. He stops. He said, "I'm not going to play basketball. We're gonna get this fixed. We're gonna clean up this mess that's going on." Great message about it's not about the money and it's not about professional sport. There's environmental issues in this country that need to be addressed in the world. And forget about our president. He doesn't care about it, but that's a ball of wax. We won't get into that right now. Great movie, came out in the 80s. Also, Forget Paris. NBA basketball.
You're out.
And it's got all the NBA guys in it. And it's a love story. What, Nick?
No, forget Paris. Nope. Forget it. Just forget it. Forget that movie.
The scene with the grandfather where he's just reading off all the street signs as they drive down the street. Brilliant.
Yeah. So Forget Paris is another one I know Jeremy likes. I think he likes, where Billy Crystal is the NBA basketball fan. And one that a lot of folks like, and I didn't get to it. Sometimes some things slip through the cracks with me, and this one slipped through the cracks, but when I got a chance to see it later on, R.I.P. rest in peace, Tupac Shakur, fantastic and Above the Rim. Fantastic and Above the Rim.
That's right. Yeah.
And so those are some honorable mentions that I had. And Kurt,
I just thought of one.
All right, go ahead.
Just because this is a guilty pleasure of mine, I actually like the Whoopi Goldberg film Eddie.
Oh, that's right.
The New York Knicks. I mean, come on, Yvonne McBaskets.
Yes, that's pretty funny. I'll give you that. That's a good one. That one was very entertaining.
But yeah, I'm glad you said Above the Rim, Dan, because that's a really, really good
one. Oh, yeah, Tupac Shakur is fantastic in that.
Yeah,
I can't say enough about him in that. And Kirk, look, I came up with over 10 movies. Just in my honorable mention. You could have come up with 5, Kirk. You could have watched them.
They're the best.
Yeah, I love Kirk though. All right. So Nick, go down your 5-1.
All right. So my sorry. Let me get it. Okay. So my 5 was Space Jam. My 4 was Blue Chips. 3 was Glory Road. 2 was Coach Carter, and my number 1 was Hoosiers.
All right, Peggy, go down from 5-1.
My 5 was Hoosiers. My 4 was Blue Chips. 3 was He Got Game. 2, Finding Forrester. And number 1, White Man Can't Jump.
And my 5 is Coach Carter. 4, He Got Game. 3, White Man Can't Jump. 2, Hoop Dreams. And number 1, Hoosiers. Nick, where can you be found?
Facebook's the best way to find me. Just look up Nick Carley. I'm always on. I'm always available. So if you need anything from me, I'll be there.
And Peggy.
I am at Peggy B-Ball appropriately across all platforms. Yes, I used to play. Nice. You can catch me every Wednesday on a little show called Fantasy Film Fights that I co-host, where we just take random film topics and we draft them fantasy style. I would tell you what topic is next week, but I don't know what topic is going to be next week because this won't air for a few weeks. So just tune in and come and join the fun sometime. Be a panelist.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been on that sports episode. I don't want to keep needling.
You're on one soon, Dan. Don't you worry.
All right. You can find me at Dan Scapal on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Or you can find my I used to write for a website called cinesportstalk.com. That's cinesportstalk.com. I wrote about sports and movies. And I currently write for a website called Disappointments Media, DISPOINTMEDIA.com. And obviously, every week you can go to many different places and you can find the top 5 weekly. So that's out there. So for Nick and Peggy, have a good night, everybody.